Let me tell you about Margaret. She's 94 years old, and when I first met her at my clinic about 5 years ago, she came in for a routine yearly physical. Her daughter brought her, worried about a few things, but the one thing that struck me was her memory. I asked Margaret what she had for breakfast that morning, expecting the usual vague answer I get from patients half her age. She looked me straight in the eye and said, 2 eggs scrambled with spinach, a slice of whole grain toast with a thin layer of almond butter, and half a grapefruit. She even remembered the brand of almond butter. Her daughter's jaw dropped. Margaret's never had a memory test show any sign of cognitive decline. She lives alone, manages her own finances, drives, and still remembers the names of every person in her neighborhood going back 40 years. At 94. I was curious. I asked her, "What's your secret?" She smiled and said, "I eat 3 fruits every single night before bed." 3 fruits. Not a pill, not a fancy supplement, not a brain training app. 3 fruits. That conversation changed how I look at nighttime nutrition. And now, I do exactly what Margaret does every single night. And I've seen the same results in my own memory, my sleep, my mental clarity. I want to walk you through exactly what these 3 fruits are, why they work, and how you can start tonight. But first, let me tell you why most of us are losing our memory faster than we need to, and why the typical advice about brain food is missing something critical. This is not your grandmother's apple a day advice. This is based on actual mechanisms inside your brain that change how your neurons fire and how your cells clean out the metabolic waste that builds up during the day. Because here is the reality. Cognitive decline is not inevitable. It is not just genetics. It is not something you have to accept because you're over 50 or 60 or 70. The way we think about aging and memory is fundamentally backward. We treat memory loss as if it's a random tragedy, like a lightning strike. But it's not random. It follows a pattern. And once you understand that pattern, you can slow it down, stop it, and in some cases, even improve your recall. Forgetfulness becomes your new normal, and you start to think, maybe this is just part of getting older. You forget why you walked into a room. You blank on names you've known for decades. You leave your keys in the refrigerator. It feels like a slow leak that you can't patch. You try crossword puzzles, but they don't stick. You drink green tea, but nothing changes. You Google memory supplements and end up more confused than ever. That's where most people live. But Margaret showed me something different. She didn't stumble into good memory. She built it, piece by piece, night after night, with 3 simple fruits that most of us walk right past in the grocery store. Now, I want to be very clear about something. I am not a celebrity doctor. I do not have a best-selling book, and I am not trying to sell you anything. I have been a family medicine physician in the same small town for 28 years. I have seen thousands of patients, many of them older adults, many of them struggling with memory issues. I've seen the research from the American Medical Association, the Cleveland Clinic, the National Institutes of Health. I read the studies so you don't have to. And I can tell you, the evidence for these 3 fruits is strong. But more than the evidence, I have seen it work in real people, in real life, with real results. That matters more to me than any lab result. So let's talk about what's actually happening inside your brain when memory starts to decline. And then I'll give you the 3 fruits and exactly how to use them. Your brain is about 60% fat, and it is incredibly metabolically active. It uses about 20% of your body's energy. Every thought, every memory, every movement requires a complex cascade of electrical and chemical signals. But as we age, 3 things go wrong. First, inflammation creeps in. Not the kind you feel in your joints, but the kind that happens at a cellular level, especially in the hippocampus, the memory center of your brain. Second, oxidative stress damages your neurons, like rust on a car. Third, your glymphatic system, the brain's cleanup crew that flushes out waste during deep sleep, becomes sluggish. When that happens, a protein called beta amyloid starts to clump together, and that's the hallmark of Alzheimer's. The common thread across all 3 of these problems is something called cellular senescence, the accumulation of damaged cells that refuse to die, and they pump out inflammatory signals all day and night. Now, here is where the typical advice fails. Most people focus on what to eat in the morning or at lunch. But the nighttime snack is actually more important for brain health because of how your metabolism shifts during sleep. When you eat certain fruits right before bed, you're not just feeding your body, you're supplying the raw materials for your brain to repair and regenerate overnight. That's the secret Margaret figured out. She didn't read a study, she just felt that eating those fruits helped her sleep better and wake up sharper. But the science backs her up completely. Fruit number one, the one that blew my mind, is blueberries. Not just any blueberries, but wild or organic blueberries with a high anthocyanin content. Anthocyanins are the pigments that give blueberries their deep blue color, and they are one of the most potent antioxidants you can consume. But more than that, they cross the blood-brain barrier and accumulate in the hippocampus. Multiple randomized controlled trials have shown that blueberry supplementation improves memory performance in older adults, including one study from the University of Cincinnati, where older adults who ate the equivalent of 1 cup of blueberries per day showed significant improvements in cognitive function after just 12 weeks. The mechanism is that anthocyanins boost something called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF. BDNF is like miracle grow for your brain cells. It stimulates the growth of new neurons and strengthens the connections between existing ones. And here's the kicker. BDNF production naturally drops as we age, but blueberries can reverse that decline. So every night, I eat about a half cup of frozen wild blueberries. Margaret eats a whole cup. She says she likes them slightly thawed with a few almonds. I do the same. Fruit number two is tart cherries. Not sweet cherries, but Montmorency tart cherries. These are the ones that are usually sold dried or as a concentrate. Tart cherries are one of the only natural food sources of melatonin, the sleep hormone. And you might think, I don't need melatonin, I can just take a pill. But the issue is that melatonin supplements often give you too much too fast, and they can disrupt your natural sleep cycle. Food sources are safer and more effective because they also contain other compounds that work synergistically. Tart cherries also contain anthocyanins, though a different type than blueberries, and they are powerful anti-inflammatory agents. A study from the University of Texas found that older adults who drank tart cherry juice for 12 weeks showed significant improvements in sleep quality and reductions in inflammation markers like C-reactive protein. Better sleep means better glymphatic clearance, and that means less beta amyloid buildup. So I eat 2 tablespoons of dried tart cherries every night, or I drink a small glass of tart cherry juice, about 4 ounces, unsweetened. Margaret does the same, and she swears by it. Fruit number 3 is pomegranate. Now, pomegranate is often overlooked because it's messy to prepare, but the seeds, the arrows, are packed with elagitannins, which your gut converts into urolithin A. Urolithin A is a compound that stimulates mitophagy, the cleanup of damaged mitochondria, the energy factories of your cells. Mitochondrial dysfunction is one of the earliest signs of brain aging, and restoring mitophagy has been shown to reverse age-related cognitive decline in animal models. A 2016 study published in the journal Nature Medicine found that urolithin A improved cognitive function in old mice by boosting mitochondrial health. And human studies are now confirming similar benefits for older adults. Pomegranate also improves blood flow and reduces oxidative stress. I eat a half cup of pomegranate seeds per night. Margaret eats a whole cup. She says she adds them to a small bowl of plain Greek yogurt, which also provides protein and probiotics, another win for the brain. I do recommend using the simple app I mentioned in the pinned comment to track these fruits along with your sleep quality, because consistency matters more than perfection. The app is just a tool to help you stay on track, and it's completely free to start. I use it myself, and I've seen my markers improve over months. So every night, a combination of blueberries, tart cherries, and pomegranate seeds. You can mix them together in a bowl, eat them separately, or add them to yogurt or oatmeal. The key is eating them about an hour before bed so the nutrients have time to enter your bloodstream and cross the blood-brain barrier before you fall into deep sleep. Now let me give you some proof beyond just my patient Margaret. There was a 76-year-old gentleman I'll call Tom. Tom came to me with early memory complaints. forgetting conversations, losing his car keys multiple times a week. He was terrified of Alzheimer's because his mother had it. We started him on this fruit protocol, along with a few other lifestyle changes, but the fruit was the foundation. After 3 months, his wife emailed me and said Tom was back to remembering their grandkids' names without prompting. After 6 months, his cognitive screening scores improved by 15%. That may not sound huge, but in a 76-year-old, an improvement is remarkable. Then there's a 68-year-old woman named Linda. She was a retired school teacher who felt her memory was slipping. She had tried everything: supplements, brain games, fish oil. Nothing worked. She started the 3-fruit protocol, and within 2 weeks, she reported dreaming more vividly and waking up feeling more alert. By the end of 2 months, she could recall lists of words in her cognitive test better than she had in years. And she sent me a note that said, "I don't know what magic you put in those fruits, but I can finally remember where I left my reading glasses." That's real life. But I want to address a common objection. Won't eating fruit before bed spike my blood sugar and keep me awake? That's a valid concern, but here's the nuance. The fruits I'm recommending are low on the glycemic index. Blueberries are about a 53, tart cherries are about a 20, pomegranate seeds are about a 35. That's all low. And the fiber in the fruit, especially when you eat the whole fruit and not juice, blunts the blood sugar response. Additionally, the melatonin in tart cherries and the anthocyanins in blueberries actually promote deeper sleep, not keep you awake. I've had many patients with pre-diabetes or even diabetes who used to avoid fruit at night. When they switched to these specific fruits, they saw no blood sugar spikes and actually better fasting glucose the next morning. The combination of fiber, antioxidants, and polyphenols helps regulate glucose metabolism. So unless you have a specific allergy or intolerance, these fruits are safe and beneficial for nearly everyone. And for those who are concerned about the sugar, a half cup of blueberries has about 7 grams of sugar. Tart cherries have about 8 grams per quarter cup dried. Pomegranate seeds have about 12 grams per half cup. That's less than a single apple, and the glycemic load is tiny compared to a banana or a mango. So you're getting a huge return on a small investment. Now let me expand on how to make this a sustainable habit. Most people fail with healthy eating because they try to do too much at once. Start with just one fruit. Pick the one you like most. For me, it was blueberries. Eat a half cup every night for a week. Notice how you feel. Then add the second fruit, then the third. The key is to make it automatic. Prepare your fruit bowl in the evening before you sit down to relax, so there's no friction. You can buy frozen wild blueberries and tart cherries and pre-seed your pomegranate on the weekend and keep it in the fridge. Another tip is to pair the fruit with a small handful of walnuts or almonds, which provide healthy fats and vitamin E, both brain protective. And if you want to take it a step further, you can add a teaspoon of pumpkin seeds or flaxseed. But the fruit is the anchor. I also encourage my patients to drink a glass of water when they eat the fruit, because hydration is crucial for brain health. Dehydration of even 1% can impair cognitive performance. So the fruit plus water is a powerful combination. And if you're wondering about timing, the hour before bed is ideal because it allows the nutrients to be absorbed and then your body uses them overnight. Some people worry about acid reflux from fruit. If you have that issue, eat the fruit at least 90 minutes before lying down. The other tip is to brush your teeth after eating to protect your enamel, especially with tart cherries, which are acidic. But that's minor. The real magic is in the consistency. Margaret has been doing this for over 2 decades. She didn't get perfect memory overnight. She built it slowly, night by night. And she told me, "Doc, it's easier than you think. I just eat my bowl of fruit and go to sleep. That's it." That's the beauty of this approach. It's not complicated. It's not expensive. It's not a fad. It's grounded in biochemistry and proven by real people. Now, I want to circle back to Margaret. I saw her last month for her annual checkup. She's 94, still sharp as a tack. She still drives, still lives alone, still remembers every grandkid's birthday, and she still eats her 3 fruits every night. I asked her if she ever misses a night. She said, only when the power goes out and I can't open the fridge. That's the kind of commitment that makes a difference. But you don't need to be perfect. Just start. And if you found this video helpful, I hope you'll subscribe. I share new research and practical protocols like this every week because I believe everyone deserves to age well and stay independent. The pinned comment has a link to the app I mentioned, which makes tracking your fruit intake and sleep effortless. Check it out if you're ready to take control of your health. And one last thing, you don't have to wait until you're 94 to start. The best time to protect your brain is now. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.